I'm your host with the most, Locum23. You're joining me for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker spoiler-filled review. If you wanted to hear on accident, there's a spoiler-free video up on the channel. But without further ado, grab a snack, grab a drink. You're going to need it. Let's dive into this because there's a lot to unwrap, unravel, and just dissect. Let's go! So, where to begin? I'm still conflicted with this. I really am. But now that we can talk with spoilers and everything, I'm just going to go off the cuff. Things will be here, there, and all in between, but most likely because you're here, you will understand what's going on. Unless you're like, yo, I want the spoilers, I didn't get to see the movie, and cool, but, you know, I will try my best to fill you in regardless, but I feel like at the beginning of this movie, it was just jumps. It was just super fast transitions. This movie should have been longer than 2 hours. It wasn't. If we can sit through hobbits walking through Middle-earth to get to the mountain to drop off the ring, we could sit through a longer finale. This is it. This is the piece of resistance. This is the finale. And we got only 2 hours for that. It just doesn't seem filling enough. It's like you went to Thanksgiving dinner and they burnt the turkey, the house caught on fire, and all you have is a package of Ritz crackers. I'm serious. That is literally all you have. And you're like, okay, this was a nice snack, but I'm not splitting this whole tube of Ritz crackers with 16 family members. I'm sorry. That's the gist of this movie, let's be honest. Boy, I guess I should have let off with that during my spoiler-free one, but anyway. There was a lot of just do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And then it was interesting how, okay, so they're flying through space, right? One of the scenes, they're flying through space, they're fighting the TIE fighters and all this stuff, and it's weird because they talked about doing, you know, jumping, you know, and it was weird because this was something that they had never tried before. Oh, there's no way the Falcon can do it. Well, apparently the Millennium Falcon can do anything. That was kind of like the humor and gimmick in episodes, 4, 5, and 6 was the Millennium Falcon. We're going in the hyperdrive, and it was kind of humor. You know, there was kind of a little bit of humor and be like, what the hell? You know, you had C-3PO and in the wires, or R2-D2, and all these other. And it was kind of the run-on kind of gimmick where the Millennium Falcon would never, like, under those circumstances, it would never do right and everything. And it seems like the Millennium Falcon, with it being as old as it is perfect and running more smoothly and whatnot than ever before. Then there's never any humor for that. I guess when you have the movie 2 hours long, I guess you don't have really time for rumor, let alone a lot of people who were killed off screen. And I'm not talking about, you know, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. That's a kind of a given. They kept her around more than some of the other characters, like Admiral Akbar, who just died somewhere. Apparently, maybe he got a fishbone stuck in his throat or something. I don't know. No one knows. Who knows? Who, what, when, where, and why. There's a lot of other aspects in the Star Wars franchise and universe that we never got to use. Bounty hunters and the whole 9 yards. It was like there was one person we ran into on the one planet. Was it Endor or something? Where she kind of had the huge mask on and helmet, and she kind of was like, you could tell, kind of like a bounty hunter or smuggler, something of that kind of mystery origin story, which, who knows, maybe we'll see some of that in Mandalorian or something, which, let's be honest, Mandalorian, if you were to sit down, binge watch all the episodes that are out right now, you would be like, wow, Mandalorian is actually a better movie than Rise of Skywalker. That's how I feel. Like, I'm serious. As soon as I got out of the movie, I have Post-it notes out the ass. So, and it's just, I see the words, and I'm like, yo, this is, okay, so, we keep seeing heirlooms passed on, right? This is another thing that kind of bothers me, is Luke was really strong in the Force, right? I mean, he had the ability to defeat Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, the person who went around, killed younglings, killed Jedi Knights, Jedi Padawans, Jedi Masters. This guy went around hunting people. We have countless games based around him, where at the end, you know, he fights someone, he kills him, you know, the whole 9 yards. And we're talking about a lightsaber that was passed to Luke, was passed to Obi-Wan, was passed, period, to someone. Never had memories. We're talking about episode 1 and 3, episode, 4 through 6, Tons of heirlooms, tons of items you could touch, tons of learning from other Jedi's possibilities, tons of Force awakenings, all this other crap. Never happened. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to think how Kylo Ren and Rey are the only ones who can do this. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's almost like, and I have a hypothetical theory here, is it's almost like the less Force wielders there are in this galaxy, the stronger that is for two specific individuals. Well, three, if you count Palpatine. Which, Fortnite did this big event, and I feel like it was a way of trying to get the kids into the movies, because a lot of kids and a lot of teenagers and whatnot have spoken out about the movies. I have faith in those children for the future generations, because those are kids that are like, no, I like the originals better. Respect, because a lot of people do. This is going to be another Han Solo rated movie. Already the audience scores are coming in. The critic scores are rated lower than a lot of the other movies. And, I mean, honestly, you could have had 4 movies instead of 3. You could have had one with better storytelling. You could have added more comedy things, which just talked about. We could have talked about more technological things. That was another thing, but I don't want to move past the heirlooms just yet. It's just amazing how you touch something, you unlock a ton of Force powers that apparently never have existed ever before. The fact that, you know, she can heal people now. Like, OP, talk about plot armor, talk about plot power. You know, just plot power-ups. Just for the purpose of plot. No real training, no real anything. And they were showing her doing training. They were showing her literally doing Luke Skywalker training. Running through the jungle. Luke Skywalker didn't do it with a helmet on, but Luke Skywalker did it with Yoda on his back. Rey didn't. She did it with a droid following around, helping her and going through the course with her and the whole 9 yards, and she had a lightsaber and Luke was not allowed a lightsaber. You know, it was just, it's really weird how the differences of training. Now, I get that as a person who does my own specific training versus other people, and mine is more for power, stamina, endurance, things like that, versus someone who will go run a triathlon or speed bike versus, you know, distance biking. And I get there's different training methods, but we're talking about Luke here. It was supposed to be, bring balance to the Force, Skywalker. He is the one. I'm so tired of this. He's the one. He's the one. He's the one. Anakin was the one. Luke was the one. Oh my god, we have so many ones, and it's kind of getting to the point of being monotonous at this point, because we've got this huge power-up. You know, it's like, to make a reference that you may or may not get, it's kind of like, literally Dragon Ball, and someone coming and just having the ability, just because they feel a tingle in their back, becoming Super Saiyan, and then Super Saiyan 2. It's just like, ooh, I feel a tingle. Ah, I have the power now. Just that plot power up and that plot armor don't fly. You've got to at least, you know, I believe the word I'm looking for is moxie or fashion or something to get someone to that step. A lot of the other things were normal, you know, jumping longer than normal distances and things like that. Those are things you understood, but the fact that she was able to bring people back to life, and the fact that she was able to you know, do a lot of other things and heal wounds and everything without any explanation whatsoever about that. And they just made her more powerful and more powerful and more powerful. It felt like the Captain Marvel syndrome was going on, the Superman syndrome. If you've watched my 2 movie reviews about those, you know what I'm talking about. It was just a huge issue there, and this is the same thing. This is literally the same thing. I don't even know what to begin with. And then the Force transfer, like instant transmission without moving, without leaving, being able to literally have fight scenes that are going on in 2 different locations. It was like, okay, alright, this is weird, but alright, we'll accept it. Then also the fact that you can give people items from, you know, through time and space just was like, okay, alright, I mean, alright, I mean, you're willing it to them, but that would mean it would fly through objects or something, but somehow you're willing it. It's like Goku going, and he's just got the glasses. I don't know. Like, I didn't have to do it. I didn't have to move. I just grabbed the glasses. It literally felt like JJ watched one episode of Dragon Ball and was like, yo, instant transmission sounds really cool. I'm going to give it to my Jedis. Have a good day. Made no sense. The battling between two areas through time and space and literally having an effect on the areas around them, it made no sense too. I understood, like, Luke in the prior movie stood there and Blast and everything were standing there and hitting Luke, or supposedly, and he was standing there and he's like, okay, how does debris fall on your ass? And you're like, but you were not fazed by any of the laser beams firing from these mega giant things that are just supposed to be like blockade destroyers and mountain killers and all that. Okay. They kind of gave me a glimpse of that, which I get that holographic projection, but doing force-wise, okay. Another thing was Rey gave up, right? She returned to the planet. She was going to become a hermit like Luke, which was stupid. What the hell is up with everyone wanting to give up? Like, this is where Luke, you know, Mark Hamill even was like, yo, this is not Luke Skywalker becoming a hermit or anything, and I entirely agree. Luke was the kind of guy who ran in there and wanted to save his friends against all odds. He was the kind of guy who against everything would fight to life and limb, literally, and, you know, all these other things, and he just became this really depressed person that wanted to go and kill Ben or Kylo because, you know, he sensed darkness, and yet he even, like, we're talking about Luke Skywalker sensed light in his father, who had killed children. He had sensed light in his father, who had killed children. Who, again, we're going to go back. Padawans, knights, masters. He had killed innocents. This guy sensed light. Even the darkest, like, recesses of Darth Vader, he sensed a little bit of light. It's okay. But I'm going to kill him laying on the ground, or a try, thus wiping out all my Padawans and everyone else, you know, aside from those that want to join Kylo, because I sense a little darkness in him. That is not my Luke Skywalker. I'm sorry. You know, start the movement. Hashtag not my Luke Skywalker. I don't know if that was ever a thing, but no, seriously though. That was not my thing. And I feel kind of depressed about that, but moving on. Trying not to get to the end of the movie real quick. You know, I'm trying to jump in and just nitpick things because I want to bring it to a final conclusion here. And I replay the movie, the whole entire movie in my head. I guess the way to put it is everything that has a beginning has an end. And it's true. Because this movie, like, let's put it this way, the two prequels, or the sequels from 4, 5, and 6, before this movie, were copy and paste of 4, 5, and 6, let's be honest. And this movie was, I mean, it's in the middle. It's okay movie. It's could have been done so much better. It could have appeased everyone. It could appease those that were hardcore Star Wars fans. Yes, it wouldn't have been completely perfect. I don't think there was any way to make this movie perfect. Let me go ahead and get that right out of the way. Perfection is overrated. It doesn't exist. Perfection does not exist. Like, I am a good individual. I've done right by everybody, but I am not perfect. My point is, no one is perfect. Like, I'm sorry. You're not going to have Albert Einstein's brains. You're not going to have the looks of the most attractive person in the world. You're not going to have the athletic abilities of every single person. You get my point. And that is literally Ren, if you think about it. Excuse me, Rey. That is her. She is perfection. Like, she tricked Palpatine, which, talk about the most lackluster fight scene in all of history, was this movie. There was no fantastic, like, flights. Like, the movie was visually good to stunning in some aspects. The music, I mean, it's Star Wars music. How can you get that wrong? You know? Really, how can you get that wrong? And thankfully, some of the composers that made the original scores and whatnot are still around to this day, so thankfully, thanks to them, we can continue to have such wonderful musical pieces, so there is no complaints there, that I can really think of off the top of my head right now. I mean, sure, you could have had more epic ones, but, you know, let's put it this way. This is a finale to Star Wars. Let's stay golden oldie, you know? Man. It's just... Okay, let's not go to the finals. Let's go back a little. Let's go back a little. Like I said, Rey being OP, it's triggering. It really is. And I don't know why. I don't know why, but no time to mourn. Okay. All right. So there has been no time to mourn. We had Chewie, who died in the movie, right? And it was this. You had 3 seconds to mourn Chewie. 3. I'm sorry. Okay. 3 seconds to mourn Chewie. And it was on. It was over. It was like... It automatically, for me, made me go, Chewie wasn't in it. Chewie's not dead. They would not do Chewie like that. They didn't do Han like that. They didn't do Luke like that. They're not going to do Chewie like that. That was just deductive reasoning. Lo and behold, Chewie didn't die. Found him on a fucking Star Destroyer, saved him, boom, shakalaka, get on. Carrie Fisher. They at least gave her a morning pass. Which was... confusing. It really was confusing, because apparently Luke had been training with his sister. And she went into retirement, right? She gave Luke. She had beat Luke. I want you to keep that in mind. She had beat Luke, which was really interesting. But she had beat Luke. And in this flashback, and she gave him her lightsaber and said, someone will come for this. Okay. You're, like... Han Solo had more of a force impact than Carrie Fisher. No, I get it. I get it. In a way, they're trying to respect her being gone and the whole 9 yards. But if you're going to do CGI and other things with her, why stop there? Which then leaves people to the James Dean thing and bringing back dead people from CGI purposes. And then I'm sitting here going, why are people upset about James Dean, but they're not upset about, like... off the top of my head, 8 other people who have died who have been CGI'd into a movie. You know, it makes you confused. I guess it's just fan bases, which... How big is James Dean's fan base now? Oh, that's another topic for another time. She just... All we got out of Princess Leia was... Ben. Just her voice. Just Ben. And it made him drop his guard, made him lose the fight, and that was it. Just because her whispering on the wind, Ben, it suddenly changed him. Princess Leia hadn't communicated with him this whole time. She hadn't tried to force her way into a vision in front of him this whole time and trying to convince him otherwise. I'm sure he would have listened. I'm sure he would have cared. Han Solo had more of a force impact. Han Solo showed up literally as if he was real, and showed up and they brushed it off as a memory. Which I'm sitting there going, what memory? Like, no, this isn't a memory. This is just, you know what? You'd be easier to just brush it off as Han Solo had some sort of, think about it this way. Han Solo has a lot of luck in the galaxy, right? Millennium Falcon always winning his gambling, even though he had some gambling debts or whatnot because of the way he lived and whatnot. But he still was a very fortunate person and very strong, one could say, with the Force. He could have been Force sensitive. You know? Like, at least make sense of Han Solo coming back in that capacity. And it would have been like, oh, Han was Force sensitive this whole time. That would have made more sense. Anyway, like I said, barely any time at all to mourn. There was literally no time at all to mourn. Super fast transitions really played into that too. But man, So, like I said, the Force, it feels like the Force becomes stronger for one particular... This is the only thing I can reason because of how Rey and Kylo Ren are as strong as they are, is it feels like the less Force users there are, the more Force there is to tap into. Which, wow. Talk about the Force being a dick. Like, the Force is over here going, nah, you gotta kill some more children to get the power of, you know, the Force to power yourself up to be Super Saiyan 3, dog. You need to kill, you know, someone needs to go kill some more children, or you need to... Which, if that's the case, is this Highlander? There can only be one. Like... Wow, that puts things into retrospective. That's what this whole entire sequel was. Highlander, but with lightsabers. Billy D, though. Billy D. Man. That's a golden oldie man right there. I'm serious. Billy D winning. Billy D carrying, in a way, supporting role in this movie. Coming out of nowhere, giving people motivation. Like, we already... Which was kind of his character in a way that we started to build up on from, you know, the prior movie, you know, back when they were younger, but it was interesting to see him come out of nowhere. He kind of was supportive in his own role and rights and everything. He wasn't his usual self, which was fine, you know, kind of like he aged with like wine, and trying to be a better person, I guess you could say, putting all of his chips and whatnot on the rebellion. Which, it's interesting for a rebellion. You know, the whole galaxy is fixing itself. The Empire was defeated. But then the First Order came out, and they were fighting against people, which then you're telling me we had no military might. The galaxy had no military might, apparently. So they're just like, by golly gee willikers, we sure wish we had a rebellion. Quick, let's make one. Like, the rebellion almost feels like got weaker after the last... movie before the two sequels and then this one, and then it seems like everybody got weaker instead of stronger, which the rebellion has always been the underdogs. And apparently they didn't have any Mon Calamarian cruisers. They didn't have any cruisers whatsoever. They had no, you know, refurbished Star Destroyers. They had nothing. All they had was a blockade runner, a bunch of Y-Wings, A-Wings, and X-Wings. And I'm just sitting there going, okay. Okay, that was the end scene for, you know, flight and fighting and in space and the whole 9 yards, and it just seemed, and then everyone else shows up because again we're talking about Billy D. He shows up, and then everyone with a blaster apparently shows up. So apparently the whole galaxy, with hundreds upon ships of mom and pop ships, with just front stun cannons and a bunch of shit. The Empire's like, oh my god, we have this, like, cutting-edge tech. We have hundreds of Star Destroyers. We have a massive capital ship. We have the ability to destroy planets now with our Star Destroyers. We have tons of turbo cannons. We have tons of TIE fighters. We have probably hundreds of thousands to probably millions of stormtroopers. And we're afraid of a bunch of mom and pop ships. Okay. Alright. Alright. Like, I felt like this was Endgame, but not as epic. Like, this was Endgame, and everyone's going, oh, like, no one, it was weird. No one was like, oh, or anything. There wasn't even boos. People were just like, even I was like, yeah, this was predictable. And Poe's sitting there. Poe, my dog, Mr. Against all odds, we're incredible, and we never give up, we never give in, we never lose, we never surrender. Suddenly went emo as shit. And also the bickering on screen between the three characters was just, like, Han, Leia, and Luke had their moments, right? But the bickering on screen between these two was just, it was nonsensical. It was just stupid. We'll be there for one another when it only really matters. Until then, we're going to bicker. We're going to bicker like an old married couple, the three of us. And then, oh my god, Finn and his love for Rey. I'm assuming they kept alluding to it. Ren, there's something I gotta tell you. There's something I gotta tell you. There's something. out already! Like, dude, really? What was it? We will never know. And then they introduced someone else, right? Suddenly Finn no longer cares. That was the most dumbass love story or love care or an attempt or anything known to man to make us think like, "Aw, Finn Ray, hashtag ship that, yeah." Like, what? Or Poe Ray or any of this. They kept trying. Like, it was like the two kept wanting to go after her, but never had the balls, and yet Poe was the one with the biggest pair, apparently. But, you know, I don't know. It just felt so confusing. Like, they tried to have the chemistry of the first three of Han, Luke, and Leia, and they failed epically with that chemistry. They really failed. They may have the chemistry off screen, I don't know. That's what they say. But it just felt like the chemistry was not there, or that was in the script. One of the two. The chemistry was really not there for me. Where else? Like I said, the flight scene at the end, it was Endgame, but I feel like Disney killed it. I feel like Disney did their own damage to themselves with Endgame being so incredibly awesome, and you being like, oh my god, like they're gonna die, and then just, you know, just that one little portal opening, and then just went big. It was like, that sent chills. That gave you little goosebumps and everything. It's like, oh, that's so awesome. And this was just like, oh, this has been done to death. The planet killer thing, been done to death. I think they've ran out of ideas. And I mentioned this in the spoiler free, and I'm going to mention this again. There's a book series, a big, massive book series. It's called, the enemy in it is the Vonyans. It's V-O-N-G, and then there's V-U-U-Z-H-A-N, I believe it's pronounced. But anyway, it's a fantastic book series, which I never got to read all the books, but it was when I was a lot younger, and it was fantastically done. It was about, you know, Luke Skywalker meeting Mara Jade and having a family, and then part of the inclusion of the family was Han having kids with Princess Leia and having a family, and Chewie even having a family and things like that. And then they were fighting against this new enemy, which was very anti-force or force resistant, and it was just, you know, no holds barrel. Didn't matter if you were good, if you were bad. It was these you know, the Vong versus the whole entire galaxy, and it was just a fantastic storytelling experience. And, like, we're talking about a whole entire moon got dropped on Chewie, which made you feel in the book. And just, oh man, there was no feels for Chewie. There was no feels for me. The only time there was feels was, I think, near the end. And it wasn't, yay, it's over. It was just, there was like one small moment where it was nostalgia, and I think it was going back to Tatooine and retirement and things like that. And then the Luke and Carrie, you know, or Princess Leia or Mark Hamill and Carrie, but whatever. You get it, being together. I get that. That was kind of feels right there. Also, speaking of which, so we're at the end of the movie, right? I'm sure there's, I'm thinking, give it a minute. The end of the movie, the kiss. So Kylo Ren comes back, or Ben. Somehow survives the fall. Don't ask. Plot. You couldn't have Rey just die like that. Would have made just, okay. Nope. Wonder Woman. No, not even Wonder Woman. Captain Marvel, there you go. Captain Marvel has to suddenly have a plot hole, plot armor, something to keep her alive. And I'm thinking, you know, throughout the movie, I'm thinking, okay, they're hinting, throughout most of this, 98% of this movie was Kylo Ren is turning to the good side. You could just tell. It was predictable as crap. And you're sitting there, and you're seeing, here he is, he's crawling to her, and it's like, they didn't even give you the inkling of he's going to finish her, he'll be the king now, or he's going to save her. It didn't really give you any inclination. It was just, okay, he's going to go there. And then just suddenly, somehow, someway, he develops the same power as Ren. Okay, the difference, which was weird, the difference was he gave his life force to save her. Versus, like, she twice. She saved an animal, and she saved literally Ren. And didn't die. Yet somehow, some way, Kylo Ren, aka Ben, gave his life, and for a minute there you're like, oh, isn't that sweet? For a minute there you're thinking, okay, I can accept this. Like, shipping their relationship, finally you get, Poe and Finn can go themselves. Okay, I can accept this. And then he dies. He fades away into the Force and he dies. I'm just sitting there going, I'll accept it for his redemption for all the people he's killed, but this is stupid! This is fucking Captain Marvel! She's gotta stay alive, she's gotta stay uninjured, she's gotta stay anything because plot. And it was just stupid. Like, you couldn't have had it end with them two, being together and kind of balancing one another. It was the whole purpose of these three fucking movies. Her trying to bring balance to him and change him trying to change her. Finally, they're at the final fucking movie. It's just, hey guys, guess what? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna kumbaya it and yay, and we're gonna stick together and we're gonna be mates and here's this kiss and no, gotta kill him. That was stupid. So, back to Force powers, and speaking of Rey. So on the Hermit planet, she goes to toss her lightsaber away, right? And she wanted to become, the Hermit and whatnot. And it's weird how Luke force-willed himself out of nowhere. Got the lightsaber. Told her, which was a humbling moment, and kind of showed inkling of what Luke could have been, the wise mentor and Jedi master, even, of what he was supposed to be capable of, and saying, I'm wrong, and things like that. Okay. So, then lifts an X-Wing, while being a ghost, by the way. This was, a couple minutes later, but lifting an X-Wing, because she had no... the TIE fighter she flew there with, she destroyed, burned down, which was amazing. It's just... Okay, you really are dedicated to staying on this planet and never leaving. Alright, I got you. It just... It was just, okay, this is kind of silly. This is really kind of silly. And then it played into, the end there with the fight and her, getting the power, which was so weird. Getting the power of, okay, she's against Palpatine, who's newly invigorated, just lightning. Lightning. Because he sucked the life force out of Rey and Kylo for a minute. And was like, unlimited power again without saying it. And then, in order to defeat him, was literally just her having every single Force user with note. Throughout history. Again, without note. Mace Windu, Yoda, Luke, there was rumor for Katsuki, for the Ahsoka, Ahsoka for even chiming in, and apparently they killed her off fucking camera too, excuse me, but yeah, I'm pissed. And all these other people, like, again, The Last Jedi here, I might as well name this movie The Last Jedi, is they killed off all these other Jedis in the whole years, and it's like, we're giving you our energy. It was almost like Goku and the Spirit Bomb. If you get the reference, cool. If not, you should look it up. But it was sending everyone in the Force, sending you their energy. It was like unlimited Rey power, and she grabs the other lightsaber, goes at him because apparently you needed two lightsabers. It was gonna somehow make you more powerful. Weird, but okay. Two, which was Luke and Leia's lightsabers, and she's just crossed them, and she's going at him, and it's like. Okay. Like, I'd understand she wounds him, and so begins, Palpatine, Jedi lightsaber, and the way it could have gone with Yoda or whatnot. No, just apparently the lightsabers built up enough power against the lightning that just eviscerated everything in front of her, including everything around her, including all the acolytes that were Sith followers and all the other... everyone's eviscerated. Everyone is just destroyed. It's like... Okay. Alright. No epic light scenes then, I take it. So moving on from that, there's a few other things I'd like to nitpick or point out is, do you ever get the sense, like, that none of this means anything in the movie? Do you ever get the sense of that? Like, okay, let's think about this. So Kylo Ren flies a TIE fighter, Rey disables and destroys the TIE fighter, Ren appears from the TIE fighter, doesn't have a scratch on him. Okay. Chewie is in the thing, Rey uses Force Lightning, which was confusing in and of itself. Somehow, miraculously, she learned how to do that from just trying to pull the thing, and she's subconsciously just like, you know what? If I can't have Chewie, no one will. Like, what? So then also she runs Kylo through with a lightsaber, heals it. Poe got shot 12 milliseconds later. It's okay. It's alright. We didn't need to heal him or nothing, even though he's been shot. He's gonna be okay. He's nothing. They didn't even think about it. They didn't even register. It was like, oh man, I've been shot. And doesn't matter. I'm back up. Let's do this. Yeah, let's go, man. Woo! It was like, are you serious? Like, in Green Arrow, at least, when someone's shot in the shoulder or arm or something, like, they go in, like, a cast, or need some healing algae or something. Like, at least they give at least a minute semblance to it. Like, in this movie, it was just like, I've been shot, and I'm good. Even without armor. And it was also, another thing is that here they're sneaking around this Star Destroyer, which literally and figuratively, wasn't that done already multiple times? And usually people pick armor, or they use force powers, or they do something, you know, inventive, they got droids, things like that help. Nah, we're just gonna literally run through this thing, shooting, blasting, and being stupid as all shit, because none of it matters. We are protected entirely by plot armor. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, plot armor. We are perfectly fine. Like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's completely and utterly stupid. I just am flabbergasted at it. There was no one was really a threat. Like, we had two guys which were just, like, no feels whatsoever that blew up in the space battle. That we were like, oh, I remember him on the show Heroes. Huh. Well. Like, okay. Like, what am I supposed to feel for this guy, you know? Like, another silly part of this movie was the fact that, so there's a Sith dagger, right? And I don't know how long it had been since, I mean, as someone who played in Star Wars The Old Republic, like, they haven't used blunt force objects or daggers. Like, literally, this wasn't a light-up dagger. This was a traditional, like, I don't know, just regular dagger made. Okay? That looked crappy as is, and it just looked like a Hobby Lobby item. So, this was something that was kept, and it had a code for where the Emperor was. Okay? Alright. And it was all leading to finding Palpatine, right? Because of his message. Which would not have been troll if they never brought Palpatine back and it was just like a pre-recorded message just to stoop the Alliance and just to get a, you know, misdirect them. Oh man, imagine if I would have made this movie. It would have made it 10 times better. Anyway, so C-3PO, this is another semblance of not even death means anything in this thing. So they go, again, time, space mean nothing. It's just fast transitions. Fast. It doesn't give you enough time to really think if you're a normal person. For me, I get to replay everything in my head, so I get to sit here and go everything like this, and it's all in my head, and I'm replaying the movie as I should be. And so C-3PO, they take him to this underworld kind of person that's gonna pull up this thing, because he's not allowed to read. He's banned. There's a rule. He's not allowed to read Sith coding, Sith lingo, Sith anything. He's not allowed to say anything. So they take him to this underworld thing, and he's probably one of the saddest moments in the movie, right? Oh, man. Well, you know, by us accessing your memory and enabling this, it's going to wipe your memory, and you'll never remember anything about us. Okay. And he panned, and he was just like, I want to get one last look at you. Because that's going to matter in 3 seconds when we wipe your memory, right? They wipe the memory, they basically, they get C3 to read the thing, and then, oh, it's, alright, well, we lost C3PO. And instead of going, oh, that's sad, or anything, or mourning him, he just shoots back up and goes, hello, I'm C3PO, and it's just, okay, these are lines from when you first started the whole entire Star Wars series. Yeah, alright, and the first thing out of someone's mouth is, that's gonna get old, and it's like... Okay, you just had a person literally and figuratively give their life. This is why it meant nothing. It literally and figuratively give their life, their memories, their brain. Something we cherish that downplays dementia, downplays Alzheimer's, it downplays a lot of things. To, oh, that's just gonna get old. It's gonna get old because Grandpa can't remember where he parked or where he left his, medicine, or, oh, it's gonna get old. Really gonna get old. And later in the movie, R2-D2 comes up to C3, zaps him, and Bob's your neighbor, I have all my memories back. What? What? Like, there was no concept of death in this movie. There was no concept of injury in this movie. There was, the only death, like I said, was 2 extras, one of which was from Heroes. And Ren, after giving his life force for Rey to live, after her saving him, and just it's plot armor, it's plot power, it's plot just stupidity. Like, my God. Oh, it's just horrific. I want to downvote my vote to 3 out of 10 at this moment after going after all this stuff and nitpicking. And going through there, and just, there was no real benefits to this movie. When you think about it, oh, God. So, another thing is I would like to do an analogy for you real quick. Is we all are born, right? And throughout our life, we have a timeline, right? All right. So along this timeline is events that you do throughout your life and whatnot. Right. So in this film, what we did is here's the end of this film. Or it is actually the beginning of this film, to be honest. And... what they don't explain how Palpatine survived not just the Death Star being thrown down the shaft, right? You'd think, okay, maybe, just maybe, he'll catch on or something and force levitate or whatever Palpatine powers that there are that we've seen. Okay. This guy survives the Death Star imploding, then exploding, but just for sake of argument, we'll say that the Death Star imploded, there was explosions for the outside of the Death Star, and that this giant thing, fell into, the planet and blew up, and everything blew up, right? Everybody remember everything blew up? Oh my God, blew up. Okay, alright. So, somehow, some way, Palpatine survived. Not explaining any of that, not even giving an explanation. Essentially what this is doing is literally trying, in this movie, to rewrite, to erase all past achievements, and go like this. And eclipse, and get rid of it. Makes Vader's sacrifice and what he did for Luke completely stupid. If anything, it makes it fold just a little bit more. Makes it just fold a little bit more. If anything, it's continuing to fold in and of itself until it's folded to non-existence, is what's going on with what this movie has done. So we've went from this to this, and it continues, like I said, folding in on itself. We don't explain anything. We don't explain anything. Also the fact that somehow Palpatine, barely being scathed, by the way, from everything that happened in episode 6, barely being scathed, is hooked up to this machine, somehow has still force powers, has somehow trained Snoke, somehow did all these other things, which, by the way, getting rid of Snoke was probably the stupidest thing they could have done, because this could have played into it. And all these other things. There was he zapped the life force out of Ren and Rey, right? And then he shoots his hands up into the sky, doing this huge lightning power that disables all the enemy ships, and just disables them all, and continues to shoot his lightning, and it was like unlimited power, like far worse than in episode 3, and far more lightning than in episode 6, and far more lightning than we've ever seen out of Palpatine. Let's be honest, far more lightning than we've seen ever to date in any movie, in any realization, anywhere. And the only thing that stops him is Rey. So then he turns this lightning, this power, on Rey. You'd think, man, he is disabling, he is destroying ships, he is destroying cruisers, he's destroying all these things that have come in the atmosphere. Because the rebellion was starting to win back, man. They were starting to come back. Because all these mom and pop ships showed up. Unlimited power! Like, you'd think Rey with a lightsaber would not stand a chance. She does. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid. So again, the prior, even episode 1, 2, 3 through 4, 5, and 6, all of it is null and void. It's completely zoned out. It's completely pointless. The whole entire Star Wars franchise is now a story of Palpatine. It is literally the story of Palpatine. And then it's not. It's like, I don't even know the analogy. I'm thinking Pac-Man eating those globules, and then that's it. Like, when there's no globules left, like, this is what we've done with the Star Wars franchise. We've ate it all up, we've destroyed it, we've crapped it out, and we've ate that too, and it's made us sick and we died. That's what the franchise just did. Oh my god, it's the best analogy I could come up with, okay? So, this is one of the longest movie reviews I've ever done. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things I missed on that are equally triggering. Or just stupid. After discussing this, after going over it fresh, and talking about these things, and getting it out of my system, I actually have to downvote from 5 out of 10 to 3 out of 10. Going through all these, the plot holes, the plot armor, the plot powers, like the fact that Force Ghosts are somehow more powerful than the Jedi we've seen through 6 to 9 movies. Somehow, Luke being able to float an X-Wing, somehow, being able to catch a lightsaber, you question why the Force Ghosts aren't doing more of an impact, in doing these things. And then, the Han Solo thing, and it's a combination of everything. And again, the paper's gone, isn't it? It literally folded itself into non-existence, is what's happened. It even went so far as to be sucked into a black hole. That's how far it went. With that being said, if you enjoyed this movie review, if you didn't enjoy this movie review, let me know in the comment section below. If you did or didn't, just want to show some love, hit that like button, leave a comment, let me know. Also, subscribe. I do a lot of variety content here in case you're just tuning into this now. You saw my video somewhere and you're like, yo, I do a lot. I do have other reviews, unboxings, gameplays, voice acting, the whole 9 yards. I do it all. Literally, the only thing I don't cover is news, politics, or beauty. There's only 3 things I don't cover on this channel. that being said, I don't know what else to say. My brain is just fatigued going through all this again. It actually does kind of get mentally fatiguing replaying the whole movie in your head and stopping and going back and looking at parts and replaying parts. It actually does get a little mentally fatiguing doing that. And then also, again, if people want to waste the $5 to so to go see this movie, by all means, there's other methods to watch the movie. Not going to talk about it, but I would suggest doing those methods. Because to me, this movie, Disney does not deserve your cold hard cash. I'm sorry. It just doesn't, and I hope this movie kind of flops financially for them. I'm sure they're going to still reap a profit. Hopefully they don't make that much of a profit. I don't want to blame the actors on this one. I want to blame the script. I want to blame, the writers. I want to blame, the director, the co-director, the, other things. I don't want to blame the music. I don't want to blame the cinematics team. I want to blame the people who were in charge of this, of trying to make sense of this. And while trying to make sense of it, they made worse sense of it to the point of it just being stupid. Like, I've seen video games done significantly better, which, hey, by the way, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order I stream, and it actually has a better storyline and things than this movie. The Disney sequels. Disney needs to stay in its lane. That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel, is Disney took Star Wars and they killed it. And I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that disagree with me, and I accept that. But I think Disney took the Star Wars franchise and they killed it. It's really depressing to understand that. It's really depressing to... I don't know. I know there's a lot of other content creators right now who are talking about their like an hour and a half to 2 hour review of this, and I'm sitting there going, 51's a bit long for me. I feel like I summed everything up. I'm not going to go through the whole entire movie, or I'm going to charge you $5. Seriously. But, long story short, thank you all for watching. Again, let me know your thoughts. Really let me know your thoughts. Did you go see the movie before seeing this video? Did you say, nah, not for me? I watched your spoiler, I get it. And it sounds like it's stupid. Did you, what, just I either agree or disagree with me, criticisms, it's nice to have that. Otherwise, I think I'm out. I'm gonna go take some tincture oil and be really out. No, seriously, I felt really good. I'm not gonna lie. Real quick, shout out to just CBD oil, but let alone Envy CBD. Really good. It really helped me last night. It got me out of a lot of pain, and I actually feel revitalized today. So, wondering if maybe I have a sleeping issue that I don't know about or something. But I was out. I was in a coma. I'm serious. And it was a good coma, but it was just I was in a coma. But without further ado, once again, thank you all for watching, and I love your beautiful faces, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace, peace, peace. Much love.